All right, let's get started. In accordance to the governor's order, the City Council of the City of Cotulla, Texas, will meet for a regular meeting at the Alexander Convention Center, 295 North IH-35, Access Road, Cotulla, Texas, 78014. Council will have the option to attend in person or by conference call. Citizens of Cotulla will also be able to listen to the meeting by video conference. Public comments will only be accepted in writing no later than 30 minutes in advance of the meeting by sending them to City Secretary Bianca Maldonado at bianca.citysecretary@gmail.com. Roll call. I believe Mr. Ayala is the only one that's missing.
He called and asked to be excused and said that he was still sick.
Mr. Ayala called and said that he was still sick, so I need a motion to approve his excuse.
Did he come with an excuse, or does he have a doctor's note or something?
No, he just called on the phone and said that he was still sick and he was unable to attend.
And how many meetings has he missed?
I don't know, we don't have a tally to that. Maybe
It might be two, but we excused him last time,
If,
so, because he had a reason not to be there.
if,
And we don't know for sure if he is sick or not, so.
if the council excuses his absence,
Yeah.
then it's excused. And so you have the option to excuse it or not.
I'm not gonna excuse him. If I can make it and every other city councilman can make it without a legitimate reason, doctor's excuse or something, hospitalized, I understand. But the citizens of Cotulla elected us to, provide services and that's, represent the city. So I'm not gonna excuse him.
I agree. I need a motion to excuse Mr. Ayala.
I make the motion.
First motion made by Mr. Gonzalez, Freddy Gonzalez. I need a second.
Mayor Garcia, I disagree and I agree with Mr. Ayala, Gilbert Ayala.
No problem. So I need a motion not to excuse.
No, you don't, if the motion to excuse doesn't get a second, then the motion doesn't pass and that's it.
All right, motion doesn't pass for not enough evidence on or votes on excusing Mr. Ayala
For lack of a motion.
for lack of one motion. Will everybody please join me on the Pledge of Allegiance?
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moving on to item number 5, departmental and committee reports.
We submitted written reports to the council. You have them in the packet. I just want to highlight a couple of reports. Under code enforcement, Melissa Perales, who is the new code enforcement officer, has been working. She has sent out several warning letters for nuisances, trash, rubbish, weeds, brush, grass, at the following addresses: 704 Lasalle, Lot 8, Block 8 of Hidalgo, 206 Northeast Mayor, Lot 4 and 6, Block 5, Colonia Jimenez of Matamoros, Lot 12, Block 1 on Thomas Street and Orozco, at 401 Southwest Goodwin, at 405 Southwest Goodwin, at 409 Southwest Goodwin, and at 407 Frio. She also issued citations for animal care and control at 207 Oleander and Animal Care and Control Authority to stay running animals at large. We filed charges with the sheriff's office on a gentleman at 802 Velasquez for theft of service, and he had connected directly to the city's water service. And I have instructed her to make sure that we don't allow anyone to be doing that, because there are people throughout the community that go through a lot of effort to pay for their utilities, and everyone should follow suit. We did have her distribute the City Council declaration of an emergency to all the commercial businesses. The biggest project related to the water department is a water well. We are rapidly bringing the water well to a completion. We're probably 3 weeks away from taking care of that. We have been very fortunate that we have had some rain in the last month. For almost the entire month of March, our production was running at about 1.15 million gallons of water per day. During the same time frame, the aquifer gained 9 feet, and I think last Monday in April, the aquifer had actually climbed another 20 feet, which is good news for us because we continue to monitor the water well. We are also trying to get the notice to proceed from the Texas Water Development Board for the water line that goes to the airport and then loops around on the bypass. The contract has already been signed, and we have awarded that contract to Sal Construction. The state has indicated that from the submission of the information that we sent them, that they need approximately 20 days to give the notice to proceed. And as soon as that happens, we will do a pre-construction conference to make sure that the individual has done everything that needs to be done. The wastewater report, we've had some issues with wastewater, in particular at the lift stations. We did have a major failure at the lift station that we expected was going to happen, which was at Tilano. We have finally finished repairs to that, but it was costly, and it will be costly for the city. And we're also working on the wastewater plant. We had the opportunity to meet with the new warden at the prison and discuss some of the issues that we're having with the prison related to wastewater. And he was very amenable and indicated that he would resolve the issue on their side so that the city would be able to have an easier time of dealing with the problems that occur at our facility. All of the monitoring reports have tested negative, both on the wastewater side and on the water side. And so we have been very happy with the operation. The street department has done several projects. One of the most visible projects is the area around the county courthouse, where we had an area that looked kind of trashy, and so we went in there and put in curb and gutter. We did some additional asphalt to try to create some additional parking. We will stripe that area, and we will have angled parking into that area so that we can accommodate more cars. Every time that there's a court session, we generally have a lot of people there. And we also did a new chain link fence at that location, and we kind of helped the library with a tree that was in their way, and so we took that down as well. But the site looks very nice, much better than what it did before. We also did an asphalt project around the county annex building on Kerr Street. And as part of the airport operation, we also put in a brand new chain link fence around a certain portion of the airport, again, to make sure that area had been taken care of. We had 2 individuals that we sent to Bryan to be trained by TEEX on backhoe operations and on front-end loaders. And so we now have 2 individuals that are certified to do that. During the month of March and part of April, we did run with a skeleton crew. We have since brought everybody back. We're still operating with social distancing and the things that are required by the governor's orders in the operation of the street department. In the sanitation department, we have the same issues. We had the normal operations that we do, doing 31 trips to Ponderosa, to City of Laredo, and we also did one to Texas Salvage in Pearsall, where we took some metal to be recycled. The transfer station had some minor work done to the area where the compactor is, because we had a drainage issue, and we weren't capturing the spoilage that was coming off of the compactor. We fixed it so that we could go ahead and do that, and so that makes the operation a lot better. We did 22 compaction units that totaled 319 tons of garbage, and we also did 9 40-yard containers that carried 52.44 tons that were delivered, and we also picked up 33 loads at the transfer station that were processed. Under Cotulla Main Street, we have started the operation or the restoration of the Stockman's Bank building. We have a contractor currently working on it. He is about halfway through the project, and we're looking to see how we can utilize the building and what availability it will be for the community. Main Street is currently working on the 4th of July preparations, but they're kind of in a holding pattern because we're not sure what's going to happen as far as events and how all of the situation that we're currently going through is going to impact that activity.
Are you saving that brick that you're taking off, or
The what?
the brick that we're taking off from the?
We have certain pallets of brick. The brick is very soft. I want to say we saved some of it because we're going to use it. The wall that is currently exposed, when it was constructed, was not done with the intention of it being seen, and so the courses in the brick and how they were laid out is kind of loose. So what they intend to do is they're gonna stucco that wall, in order to fix it. Part of what they're doing inside is they're doing on the wall that's exposed where it has the cracks, they're doing something called stitching. And so what they do is they take a grinder and they do a course through the brick, and they take this metal rod and they put the metal rod in the seam, and then they put grout on it, and it holds the brick so that it doesn't do this and it doesn't crack. And so they're doing that through the whole place. They've already done the roof of the building and have made the building weather tight. They're working on the windows and the other things. The initial deal is to make it weather tight so that we can then have time to see what it is that the city council wants to do with that building. And so we won't go all the way through. We'll just do a partial weatherization of the building.
What are the intentions that we might do on that building there?
We have talked to different people about creating a museum and maybe doing office space for rent. Somebody else suggested that we do some sort of what they call in most cities an incubator. And what you do is you set up office space and you allow individuals in the community that have a small business or who want to start a small business, and you give them space for free for a certain period of time so that they can go ahead and get organized and be able to have a place where they can have an office. We did have somebody earlier that was trying to rent the building that wanted to do a boot and shoe repair. So we have different people that come in and are looking for space. So whatever it is that actually happens to the building will all be brought to council, and you're gonna have to decide what it is.
I know that property that the city had purchased on the side of that bank, our intention was to do an amphitheater.
The city still owns that property, and so the empty space between the building and what used to be the cleaners or the maquinitas, all of that belongs to the city.
I was thinking in the future, if, we would do an amphitheater for the kids and.
There was a discussion of that, and so, I mean, as we go forward, there's all sorts of possibilities, but the initial thing that we needed to do was to weatherize the building.
Stabilize it.
And to stabilize it.
Right.
And that's what we're currently doing.
Yeah. It's a good idea.
He's probably gonna finish this portion of it by June, and they wanna wait a little while and then maybe come back and do the windows and the fronts. But they need to look and study at old pictures because they want to bring it back to the way it was.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Councilman, any further questions on departmental reports?
I don't have any.
What's that?
I don't have any.
Thank you. Not moving on to item number 6, approval of minutes, March 5th, 2020, March 19, 2020, April 2nd, 2020. Councilman, do you need more time to review the minutes? No changes were made?
Make a motion to approve.
If everybody had a chance to review them, First motion is made by Mr. Gonzalez. I need a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Lopez. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 7, discussion and possible action on an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Cotulla, Texas, establishing rules and regulations regarding sanitation and pollution control of the areas within proximity to the city's public water supply wells.
This is a sanitary easement that is required of all city water wells. And we had a sample that was given to us by the state. I think we did some work on it, and then Mr. Peña went ahead and finalized the document that is there. The document is needed in order for the state to release the money that is currently pending to the city. And so if the council passes the ordinance tonight, we will immediately send it to the city, to the state
To the state.
tomorrow, so that they can release the money for the different sums that the city has spent on the construction of the well.
Mayor, just one thing I was gonna add is that, we have done these in the past. When Sam was here, I think we got one from the Garzas over there on Johnson Street. Whether they ever signed it or not, I don't know. I know we sent one to them. What I don't know is if we have any wells where we do have encroachments within that 50 feet that predate this ordinance. So what we've done in the past is we actually go to the person and get an easement.
Will those be
This
grandfathered in?
This ordinance is in lieu of that.
Okay.
And that's for what well?
It's number 9,
Number
the
9.
one that is being done on Dobie Road.
Okay.
So, I know we've worked on them, whether they, I don't know, I just know that Sam has for them.
In the other well that is in the well 8, which is over on chalked up on the hill, we actually went in because we had one property that was there, and we actually had them sign the sanitary easement. In this particular case, we're doing a blanket ordinance saying that we're protecting the water well, and so the city will enforce this ordinance as it pertains to the neighborhood.
Like in case of another well or?
No. This just basically says you're not gonna allow a gas station or somebody that has an oil depot
Okay.
to set up within 50 feet of the well, or that they're gonna cause pollution, cross-contamination, that type of thing.
Okay.
And what it does is the ordinance gives the city the ability to regulate that new construction that may incur into the proximity of the well.
well.
And it's a 50 feet, but it really covers 150 feet as a
Radius.
wider area, but you're really concerned with the 50 feet, which this ordinance addresses.
Which is this one right here?
Yes.
Excellent. Councilman, any further discussion on item number 7? If not, I seek a first motion.
So moved.
First motion by Mr. Lopez, I need a second. Second by Mr. Ayala, all in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 8, discussion and possible action on a resolution by the City Council of the City of Cotulla, Texas, designating authorized signatures for contractual documents and documents full requesting funds pertaining to the Texas Community Department Block Grant Program, track number 7219089.
You have an attached format It designates the authorized signatures as the mayor, myself, and Bianca Maldonado as the signatories on the draws that will be made to Texas Development. It is a sum of money that was previously approved by council. It's in the $200,000 range, and this is to address the issue of drainage on Ortiz Street. And we will be bringing, there's another item on the agenda related to the engineer, formalizing the engineering contract with Jorge Martinez. And then as we move further on with the design, we are trying to do a fast approach. We're trying to go out on bids within the next 2 months. And we will be taking the water that currently comes under the railroad tracks and goes across the property. And we will be doing an inlet, and then we're gonna be doing some pavement work on Ortiz Street to make sure that we can surface drain the water. And it's the water that currently comes across Gulf Street anytime that we have large rains. And so this will resolve that drainage issue.
That's the one that goes through the Sanchez and Trevino property.
Yes, correct.
Councilman, any discussion or questions on item number 8? If not, I seek a first motion
So
to
moved.
approve item number 8.
So
First motion by Mr. Lopez, second by Mr.
Second.
Garcia. All in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 9, presentation of financial statements by Jorge Flores.
Mr. Flores is not here tonight. We do have his report. We are still basically in good shape, but I do want to point out some things to you. If you look at the sales tax report, you will notice that the money received for the month of April is about 23% below what we had last year, same time frame. We believe that the following month will have a higher deduction, as much as 50%, and depending on when a business is reopened, it'll come back up to a certain extent, but we don't know how much. So the next 2 months are going to be critical for us as far as this time frame and the sales tax that are collected for the individual things. We have notified all the departments that we need to look very closely at our expenditures, because this may be, the next 2 or 3 months may be very critical for us for the budget year. We're still very comfortable with the numbers, but we're going to be very cautious. And so I just want to alert you that there may be a problem here, but it's not anything that we can't handle. On the Hotel-Motel Tax Collections, we are second quarter, again, if you look at the same quarter last year, you see that there is a 21% difference. And there is a trickle of hotel tax reports that were due the 21st of this month. And you show reflected here a difference of about $50,000, more or less, from same time frame last year. But you only have 10 properties that are currently reporting, And so as the properties trickle in, we may see a difference there. But the following quarter, I think is gonna be really drastic. And so, again, this is a fund that we normally don't have a lot of expenditures in, so it doesn't really impact the overall operation of the city, but we still use this for certain projects.
Correct.
On page 1 of the general fund, year-to-date, we have $1,323,207, which is about 47%, almost 50% of our total projected budget for the year.
This for 2020?
For 2020, correct. And on page 4, you have the total expenditures of $1,298,187.90 for a positive balance of $25,000. And in water and sewer, on page 5, total revenues for water are $824,307, and expenditures are $583,665 for a positive balance of $240,000. On page 7, gas, year-to-date revenues are $170,283. Expenditures are $122,161, and it's got a positive balance of $48,121. Solid waste, we had several major expenditures that were unanticipated, that we had a problem with one of our vehicles striking a rod on the highway, and our total revenues are $406,466, and total expenditures are $546,705, for a negative of $140,238. And so we have done major repairs to 2 vehicles that were unexpected. And so as we go along, we'll begin to recover that, because we ended up having to put a brand new engine on our roll-off, and we did file an insurance claim, so we may be getting
A reimbursement?
a reimbursement.
On those 2 vehicles, is it 122,000?
No,
Or
not all of it. Oh, no, it's a combination of different repairs that we had to the 2 vehicles, and I think we did also some work on the compactor.
Oh,
That's included with a compactor, right?
Yes, it's the 2 vehicles and the compactor. Of course, the other funds are listed there, if you have any questions about those. Overall, the budget is still pretty stable, and we are waiting for the reimbursement of the money that has been spent in the well, and that will replace our reserves, because we currently have paid out of pocket from the city's reserve funds about $1,500,000 that the city is gonna get back
That's on the well.
on the well. So it'll come back, and that was from general fund, not from the water fund.
Okay.
And so the reimbursement comes back to the general fund. That's a
Excellent.
report. I don't know if you have any questions related to that.
Councilman, any questions on the report?
I don't. Thank you, Jorge.
Thank you for that report, Mr. Ovalina. Moving on to item number 10.
Item number 10 is a contract that we do annually. It's a auditing firm that comes in
Yes.
and does work on hotel properties to check to see if the reports that they're submitting are accurate, and to see if there's any issues related to payments or anything like that. We generally do these on a yearly basis, and we have been doing business with this particular company now, I want to say, for the last 5 years, and so we ask that the agreement be renewed.
Mayor, just wanted to add that last year, we had, were alerted by them of one of the facilities here in town that had not paid. And because of the,
Next door.
because of that, I mean, we wouldn't have known. And I think we recovered somewhere in the $120,000 from the hotel. We had to sue them, but they did
Right.
pay, and we did get some attorney's fees back. So this is well worth, they were actually extremely knowledgeable, helpful, providing data, the stuff that we needed to know what was owed. And, essentially, the way that it works is there's a, I believe it's at $7.30 on the cost of a hotel room, or 7%.
7%.
7% on the cost of a hotel room that's more than $2 a night. So if you're more than 30 days, you don't pay it. And so there's a lot of things going on where, you know, these oil field companies, they lease up a block of rooms, and that's fine. But if they don't keep the documentation correct, you know, when they come back and audit, they're saying that there's sales tax due, or I'm sorry, hotel occupancy taxes due, because you failed to provide the backup documentation. And just one other thing, that we may be seeing here as a result of this current economic crisis that we're having, if there are sales of hotels in Cotulla, before the hotel is sold, the seller is supposed to go to the city to get a tax statement showing that no taxes are due. And if they don't do that, and the buyer buys the property without having that,
The buyer assumes
buyer is
responsibility.
stuck with it. So this may be something that, I'm thinking almost certainly something's gonna happen to at least one or two of the hotels here because of this, but I don't know. And I know there was 2 hotels in Whitten that got hit with 50 grand or more. And these, this one here claimed that, you know, it was a prior owner. So,
Were those, was that account brought back up to par
Yeah, all of the
for compliance?
all of the people who have had issues in the past with the hotel tax have cleared their accounts.
Excellent.
and what's interesting is that the title company doesn't check it. So, if it's already been closed, you know, it's really, it seems unfair, and maybe it is, but that's what the law says. So I just
Yeah.
wanted to.
Our city does that, the same thing with the water utility bills.
Right. So I guess if we get rumor that somebody's selling somewhere, that they probably need to come and get that so that the buyer doesn't get stuck with it.
Excellent. Councilman, any discussion on item number 10? If not, I need a first motion to approve item number 10.
So move.
First motion made by Mr. Garcia. I need a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Lopez. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 11, discussion and possible action on extending the Hotel-Motel Tax deadline by 30 days.
We have been approached by at least 2 hotel properties that have asked for some additional time because of the downturn, to give them extensions on filing their returns. As I stated, the deadline was, I want to say, the 21st of April. And there are at least two properties that have made the request. As staff, we don't have an issue in allowing them to come in and do a promise to pay, but I wanted to alert you to the fact that they had asked for the request. And I think we would recommend as staff that we allow them to do that, even though the tax that would be owed to the city is tax that was collected by them as a tax and was never really their money.
Correct.
But because of the circumstances, we're trying to be business friendly, and I think that you would all agree that if they do a promise to pay, we would try to hold them to maybe 30, 60 days, whatever the time necessary, as long as they agree to pay the bill. I did provide you with a letter that was sent by another hotel property, and that hotel property was asking for us to waive the hotel tax, and that is clearly something that is not allowed by law, and I'll let Mr. Peña address that issue.
I have not had this come up in the years that we've been here, and we have had downturns in the oil patch before. If you go back and look at your sales tax revenues from 14 and 15, that Mr. Rolina provided in your financial packet, my inclination is that you can allow them time to, they still have to file a report. And what I would think is that you can probably waive the penalties, but if they're not paying on time, I think the interest is mandatory. And I would probably, I have seen the promise to pay document that the city uses for utility bills. In fact, Bianca had sent it to me, and I really strengthened it a lot. Some of these people may owe you $10,000, $15,000. The reason they're not paying you, perhaps, is because they're using that money
For something else.
for other things, which they're not supposed to do. That's tax money, it's supposed to be held in trust. But I would think almost more like a promissory note, from them. And I don't know how many there are, and it's almost, I wouldn't think somebody would want you to waive taxes. I mean, nobody can waive taxes, except the federal.
Right.
And they never do. So, the taxes are owed. They're actually not the city's property, they're the property of the citizens. So, even if you wanted to do it, you can't. It's not really yours. You're holding the trust for the municipal benefit. But, do we know, Larry, how much money we're talking about?
No, I would think that just ballparking it's probably in the $40,000-$50,000 range. But I think
All of the hotels?
from the remaining hotels, because as I said earlier, the properties that have paid, there's at least 10 properties that have already paid those quarters, and you've got maybe another 12 that had not paid, but those that have not paid include some of the smaller properties, which is not a great deal of money. And you do have a couple of majors that have not paid. We did go back and we checked the previous quarter, and we checked the annual report for 2019, and the majority of the hotel properties were in the 70s range, so they did well probably up to the middle of January. And I want to say when everything started going down as far as the price of oil, and then the pandemic came in with a stay-at-home, that's when the problem occurred for them. And that's why they're asking for the delay in the payment of the money.
Are we talking about just the two that have not paid, or all across
No,
the
no,
board?
no, we're talking about the
Across the board, the
remainder.
remainders, okay.
If they
If
wish.
they need it.
If they wish to sign a promissory note, then that you would agree that staff could do a promissory note.
Right, so they have to pay some interest. And the other question is, how much are you gonna allow them to forego paying? Are you gonna put a limit on it? You know, if you allow somebody who owes a whole lot of money to not pay it, that's not a good thing. You know, you're basically kicking the can down the road. And, I mean, the way the law's written, the city's gonna get paid one way or the other. You know, we do have a preferential lien on the property, but I would suggest perhaps that we limit it to 1 month's, accumulated, taxes, 2 months, and a quarter's 3 months. So that's, I don't think you should just give an unlimited line of credit to them.
Well, I think 30 to 60 days is good enough.
What do you recommend,
We're-
Mr. Peña?
You
We're,
know, I'm not the finance guy, but.
we're recommending that you either give them 30 or 60 days
No more than
to
that.
file their report. And so the promise to pay would either be for 30 days or for 60 days,
Either one, whichever option there is.
whichever one you want us to follow.
But I guess what my point is, how many, they're filing for the quarter, so they haven't paid for 3 months. So
Correct.
we're okay with allowing them up to 3 months.
Yeah, the amount of money from what I'm looking at, the ones that are paid and comparing the sizes, most of them will be in the $7,000 to $8,000 range. There may be one or two that are in the 20 range.
Is this a one-off thing?
It's this time only. We know that the governor is gonna relax the stay-at-home, order, and they expire April the 30th. We know that they're gonna try to reopen the economy. We feel that some of this, will provide them with some relief. And by giving him this additional time, it would allow it, to show that the city is sympathetic to the business and that, you know, we can give them a little slack as far as the payment, but that it's gonna be limited to a certain amount.
So we're not gonna give them an extension. They need to file the return, so we know what they owe. They have to do that. So you're giving them an extension to pay it. They will have to pay interest, the city will not assess penalties. And we're going to go 30 days, 60 days on that?
I'm good with 30 or 60 days, whatever you want.
I think 60 would be,
60 days to bring the accounts current. And this is a one-time.
one time.
And you might as well set the interest rate, whatever the interest is that,
Yeah, no, we can use the judgment rate, which is actually kind of high.
is what?
It's probably.
6%, 5%?
I don't know what.
Oh,
I'm not-
34%.
If you agree, we can use the prevailing interest rate. And we can get it from one of the banks or from the Federal Reserve, whatever it is.
Fair
So it's
enough.
probably,
2 to 3, somewhere in there.
Fair enough. Now, let's say, they would do the 30 days or the 60 days, and they say, hey, could we do installments for them?
Well, they can do installments within the 60 days.
Okay, excellent.
That sounds good.
Yes, that'd be sufficient enough. 60 days is good.
So what I would think, yeah, I'm trying to think about this, we would have the ability to file a lien at the end of that time. I don't think we should be going foreclosing on hotels because they don't pay
No.
us. Although you can, if they don't pay the hotel occupancy tax, you can do that. But I think you might be better off with just a lien that they agree to, we file it, if they ever sell the hotel, that will show up. When they run out of it.
I agree. Councilman, any further discussion?
I'll make a motion.
If not, need a motion to extend the deadline to 60 days for payment within 60 days
Waiving penalties.
and waiving penalties, accruing a small interest.
Interest based on the Federal Reserve rate.
Interest will be based on the Federal Reserve. So, need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
First motion made by
Seconded.
Mr. Ayala, second by Mr. Garcia. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 12, discussion and possible action to enter into a interlocal agreement with Lasalle County for the construction of a mini splash park not to exceed $150,000 in expenditures with the city of Cotulla covering 50% of the cost.
Where's this splash, park gonna be at?
We met, the mayor, Commissioner Ramirez, Commissioner Ñaves, met, I want to say about a month ago. And then all of a sudden, we had this other issue, and so we hadn't brought it to council. They discussed putting in a mini splash park. We're still working on dynamics of what it could be and what it would look like. We have a property on Neal and
97?
97, and we would probably have to hire an engineer to do a small design. We would buy the components from the company, basically our own crew, or maybe even part of the county crew, would grade the facility, do the parking areas, and we would do force account for some of the site development, and then the company would come in and drop the facility onto the park. This park would not be a park that would do refiltering of the water, because basically what it does when you refilter the water, you have to have a whole cleaning operation that has to go through filters and all sorts of things. So it would be a pass-through type system that we would pipe back into Mustang Creek. And that water that would be used in the park during the operation would actually go into the creek.
Larry, I had a couple of questions. I've seen these done in other cities where they want to pay for hotel occupancy taxes. Is that how the city's intending to fund this?
No.
Okay, good.
I know that's illegal. I've been through that war.
Yeah.
I've heard about that too.
The other question, are they gonna chill that water at all? Because that water's awfully hot when it comes out of the tap.
No, probably what you would do is you would set up some sort of a tank thing that would hold it so that the water wouldn't be as hot as it is from how it currently is. So
Cooling tower?
the majority of the expenditure of the 150 actually goes into the playground equipment and doesn't go to anything else.
The way that the competitive bidding rules say that if you spend over 50,000, you have to go out for bids. But if the city is its own contractor, then those rules are suspended, but I don't know how much the actual equipment costs.
Well,
And I'm sure there's buy board stuff, but.
Yeah,
There is
the equipment you would purchase directly from the buy board, and so that the cost of the site development and the other issues related to it would all be constructed by forced labor.
Forced,
Yeah,
TDCJ,
no. Well, that could be a combination. The major has been not the major, sorry, the warden, has been kind enough to offer that. But it would be done by in-house crews, either by the county or the city, or both.
did you say forced labor?
It's force account, that's the term. We don't have slaves.
It's hard to understand with the mask on.
Sorry, it's force account.
Forces.
Me- Means it's in-house account that already has an expenditure budgeted, and you're merely allocating like a work order to make this happen.
Yeah, I guess you could use it. I don't know how to do that anymore with the TDC if they allow those guys to go out.
They do.
They do.
We
And
use them for cleanups.
And we have had a discussion with him. We had a discussion last week that we met, and the new warden, we have a new warden, indicated that he was amenable to working with the city, and everywhere that he had been able to work with the city, and he wanted to have good relations with the city, and so he said once this pandemic is lessened or whatever, and they're allowed to again begin to help the communities, that they would continue to do so.
Just a little anecdote. I had heard that what they call this social distancing, that actually swimming pools are okay, because you typically are a little bit further apart as long as you do that. Of course, this isn't a pool, but how you social distance 6-year-olds, I don't know.
Right.
Well, the fact that you would pass through the water reduces the amount of contamination that could actually occur, because you're not repiping the water back and using the same thing over and over again.
And you said the water's gonna be, sent back to
To the creek.
Mustang Creek?
Councilman, any more discussion on item number 12?
Yeah, one of the things that has not been done here in a long time is that many of the water sources that are used by different city departments have never been metered. And so when you do a water allocation report for Texas Water Development Board, they're asking you to make sure that you show the consumption by meters. And so you do a cost comparison with the meter that comes out of the well, as you well know, and you compare it to the amount that you build. And so we need to get closer to the figure. I want to say we're like at 88%, and so we need to get closer. We want to get closer to about 5 or 10%. And so you have certain facilities, such as Veterans Park, that is tied to Main Street, the Wellhausen School that is tied to Main Street. You have the parks that are tied to the street department and general fund. And because water and sewer are a proprietary fund, they all have to pay for the use of water, and they should have been paying for the use of water from the very beginning, but that was not the case. There are some other entities that are using water, and I'll bring that to you because we have an issue with that, but we're gonna have to figure out how to do it, because traditionally, there's never been a charge to those people, and so it may create a burden.
So will that include the sewer plant?
Yes.
Is it metered? I don't even remember.
No, it's not metered.
Has the county approved this?
Not yet.
Do they know about it?
I met with the two commissioners, and so I figured the first step was for us to bring it here and then tell them that we did, and so then they can bring it up on their side. But they were very interested in, and this is something that you can do like a 30, 60-day project. So conceivably, you could have it ready for this summer if the equipment is
I
available.
think it would be a good idea for in-house. To do
Yeah.
the in-house.
Yeah.
And whatever is needed as pumps or, the equipment, get it from the company.
Yeah.
I think the groundbreaking, whatever's needed to raise it up or whatever. You're probably gonna have to raise it up.
A little.
Plug it.
Sure.
Mhm.
I think it would be a good idea, in-house. Have the equipment and everything.
Go through the buy board. Councilman, any further discussion on item number 12? Not, I need a motion to approve item number 12.
I'll make a motion.
First motion by Mr.
Second.
Ayala, second by Mr. Lopez. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 13, discussion and possible action to approve an agreement between the City of Cotulla and SMB Infrastructure LTD for engineering and surveying services for the Ortiz Street drainage improvements, a text CDBG project number 7219089.
And this is a project that I spoke to you earlier with the
Correct.
drainage. Jorge Martinez had already responded to a procurement that was done by Erica, and so this would formalize a request, and his contracts are part of task orders that have already been pre-done by Steve, and we just add the project numbers and the project that is involved, and we finalize them.
Service agreement.
Correct.
The guys we use all the time, they still have to come through the process, but we don't have to go out and.
Yes, for procurement, yes.
And the property between Trevino and Sanchez will also be
That's it, that's
surveyed.
what we're talking about.
And the tracks to Ortiz.
I want to, well, I don't know. We're gonna survey what we need to do. The community block grant will not allow us to acquire any property, either by easement or by anything else. So we're going to have to adjust the project, and so the inlet will be in that small road that's there by the Trevino trailer,
Uh-huh.
where the Trevino trailer is, and you have a ditch that comes through there. So we're gonna capture that water when it comes into that ditch, and we're gonna run it with a pipe toward Ortiz, and then bring it down into Gulf, into that drainage area that we created.
So it won't be open, it'll be a closed.
It'll be a culvert.
So they can use the land and,
Well, we're not actually going to the land through the railroad.
okay.
We couldn't do that, because I tried to do that and I couldn't. So we're gonna, when it comes through there, we're gonna capture it.
At the alley.
But then it makes it easy for us, either with local money or something else, in the future, to talk to them about getting the easement and then dropping a pipe in there and connecting to what we've already done to get to the railroad. And that,
And railroad, a couple, 3 inlets, outlets?
there's 2 or 3, they're like, I don't know, they're 12 or 16s, they're big.
There might be 24 or
And,
something like that.
and what's gonna
More than
happen,
that. I think more than that.
and what's gonna happen, and this is gonna be timely, is that the Catholic Church is currently constructing another building, and they're gonna come all the way to the end of the street.
And all that water.
And so all that water is gonna come through there as well. And so in order to not have issues in the future, this will fall right into place with what we're doing.
Any more questions? Not, I need approval on, I need a motion
So move.
on item number 13. First motion made by Mr. Garcia, I need a
Second.
second by Mr. Lopez. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 14, discussion and possible action to approve a contractor's application for payment number 2 submitted by Briscoe Architectural Conservation in the amount of $110,777.40 for the Stockmen's Bank project.
This is already a project that's been approved. I typically bring all the draws to the council, just to make you aware of the process as we go along. I do have some pictures, I didn't bring them with me, but I have them available and I can email them to you so that you can see what they've done to the inside of the building, what they've done to the roof. They've taken all the brick, they've taken all of the usable brick. There is some brick that is stacked there that is not usable, that is probably gonna get thrown away. And we're gonna try to dispose of it. If not, it's a contractor's obligation to dispose of it. But this is their draw, this is their second draw. We had previously paid them, I wanna say it was $40-some-odd thousand.
44 and 42.
There is a retainage, and so we'll retain the appropriate amount of money as part of the draw, and I think you have the copy of the draw in your document.
So that's the name of the project, Stockman's? I thought you were talking about the bank. So that's the name.
No,
That's-
it
That's
used
the
to be
old bank
Stockman's.
building.
That's the original Stockman's.
I stopped by yesterday, it's looking good. I didn't get a chance to go in, but whatever I saw.
What happened to the safe
Look
that
good.
used to be there?
The what?
There used to be a safe long time ago.
The safe is still there.
Oh, okay.
The only thing that was stolen, I'm being told that there was like a bronze or a brass eagle that would sit over that safe,
Wow.
and that's what's missing. And the ceiling in that structure, I want to say either was removed. It used to be a tin ceiling, like the old things, and there's still a piece of it that's there. But it's an interesting building.
Oh, used to be a game room, I know.
A what?
A game room?
Oh, really?
When we were younger.
Well,
Dad used
Yeah, my dad used to have a game
to
with
be
them.
in
And then we had the theater. Neither did I.
Is that where Chapa used to have that furniture there?
Yeah.
Well, I need a first motion to approve item number 14 if there's no further discussion. First motion made by
Second.
Mr. Gonzalez,
Second.
second by Mr. Lopez. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 15, discussion and possible action to approve a contractor's application for payment number 6 submitted by J&K Utility Services LLC in the amount of $54,773.97 for the city chemical feed and water main project.
this is one of the contractors on the water well. If you've gone by the water well, you can see that the buildings are up, and this man is working on the chemical feed building. That building is also already up, and you can see that we're real close to completion. And again, I believe this is his third draw, and he probably has one more after this, and the project will be finished.
He said estimated time of completion is another three,
I would think it's another 2-3 weeks.
2-3 weeks. Excellent.
That whole block for that whole part is gonna be fenced in and everything, right?
The what?
It's gonna be fenced in?
It already is.
It already is.
It already is.
And it's got driveways and everything so that our crews can get in there without a lot of problems.
Excellent. Councilman, any further discussion on item number 15? If not, I seek a motion to approve item number 15.
So moved.
First motion by Mr. Garcia, second by Mr. Lopez. All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 16, discussion and possible action to approve contractor's application for payment number 9 submitted by McKinley Drilling Company in the amount of $80,326.08 for the water well number 9.
McKinley Drilling is a company that actually drilled the well, and they came in and put in their pumps, I want to say, last week. And so this is probably their last draw before we actually go through the final process, and then they would be entitled to the retainage. And so we recommend that you approve that as well.
Make a motion to approve it.
Councilman, any discussion on item number 16? Not, I seek a first motion to approve item number 16. First motion made by Mr. Lopez, I need a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Ayala, all in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 17. Discussion and possible action to amend the current Muriel declaration of local state of disaster due to public health emergency.
You did a declaration, and the county did a declaration, and the governor did a declaration. We would recommend that we do nothing and that we await for the governor's recommendation that I think is going to happen probably tomorrow, and that we just allow our declaration to expire. It'll expire on the 30th. If there is a need to amend the declaration because somehow it's in conflict with the governor's before that period of time, then we would schedule a special meeting so that you could address it. But at the moment, we think there's nothing for us to do but to wait it out and see what the federal and state authorities recommend as far as the final process.
And this is, the deadline was on April 30th, right?
Yeah, our declaration, I think, expires April 30th, and I think the state is going to do something prior to that.
Right. I also want to emphasize that the citizens of Cotulla have done a great job in you know, coming up together and you know, going with these regulations we've done on staying at home, which is outstanding, helping each other on needs and all that.
Yes, I agree.
And all local governments have come, you know, to a good agreement on how things are being done.
Yeah, it's not easy staying home at all.
No, this is very hard on the community, and as you can see, the schools, the local government, the county government, and even the local citizens, you know, there's a little bit of pain associated with what's going on.
Right.
And some people have been hurt, and so it's going to take us a while to recover, and we just need to be very sensitive and compassionate about what's going on. So I mean, we've in our process in our operations have tried to make sure that if we know of situations that are there, that we try to work with those situations to prevent, you know, people from actually getting hurt.
And Mayor, I just wanted to add that, you know, there have been articles within the last month, you know, detailing some other cities, including the city of San Antonio, that laid off 270 or 80 people in the prevention bureau and some other areas. They've got $100 million shortfall in their budget. The city has done a remarkable job, and I give all that credit to Larry, to the council, to Board of Doors, who believe has done excellent work here, straightening out our finances over the last several years. And the time that you know that your city has been run properly are in times like this.
Yeah.
Because the people that were having trouble, or not people, but governments that course, fiscally are the first ones that they can't do. The city has not had to cut back anything that I'm aware of. Municipal utility services are robust, which you can't say about some other cities that are close by that have had major problems. And the last thing that you would ever need, if what we're seeing here is a somewhat different perception of normal, there is at least some reporting that says we could see it again in the fall. So what we do now, it makes it even more important. You had oil settle Monday at minus $53 a barrel. They couldn't give it away. They had people to pay people to take it. You've got airlines that are running at 5% of occupancy. Hotels are dead. Restaurants, everything. But this city is doing okay. And every one of you all should take a victory lap because of that. Because of the way that this city has been run. And you really should be commended for doing that.
I want to thank the
Thank you.
citizens of Cotulla and the people from Cotulla and local governments and elected officials for doing an outstanding job, and especially the businesses that we have here that they are taking a big hit, but at the same time, they're coming out and, we're trying to help them out too as much as we can. The community is going back to their business, and I hope we get back to our feet again. We're not a community that's going to give up. We're going to fight all the way to the end.
I think we will, but I also, and I know everyone knows this, we don't know if we see normalcy by August, what will be like in October or December. We don't know.
We don't know.
We need to be prepared, because you can't prepare once it's on.
Faith.
I just want to say, it's kind of sad for the seniors this year that they're not going to be able to walk this week. I've encouraged some seniors that I've seen, because there's no words to tell them, they're disappointed, and it's hard for the Lord, saying it's hard for the elderly. I commend the workers at school district. Every morning they're at their stations giving out breakfast and lunch for the kiddos. That's awesome. So let's just keep in prayer the seniors, because a lot of them are disappointed, depressed. It's hard. It's hard, like the thing is saying. There's no end in sight.
We are working with the school district. There probably will be a proposal that some banners with pictures of the individuals be posted around Veterans Park, and I'm waiting for some sort of design or a letter for the seniors that are going to be coming in, so that they can be.
The school's doing that already.
Huh?
I think the school's doing it already.
No, the school is.
Not the park, but the pictures.
The school is doing the posters. They
Right,
don't
the
have a
posters,
place
that's what I mean.
where to put them, and so they've approached the city, and I've asked them to write a letter asking so that I can bring it to council and say that we're gonna post them all around Veterans Park, which is the most visible place in town. I wanna say there's 82 seniors, if I'm not mistaken, and they're currently doing the signs with Mr. Snowden of the pictures, and they're gonna be, they showed me the process, and I just said, we just need to bring it to council and make you aware of it. But during this time, we have been very fortunate. There have been some businesses in town that have come forward with masks for city employees, with gloves, with hand sanitizers, with all sorts of things. We ended up having to move to the new facility so that we could employ social distancing make sure that all of the workers that were indoors were rightfully spaced so that we wouldn't have issues. But the community as a whole has been very receptive and very responsive. And so we're doing most of our collections through the drive-through windows or with credit cards or with phones. And so it's been very smooth, and the people have been very receptive and amenable to the change. And it may be a change that has to be there, not just for now, but maybe in the future. We're not sure of what's going to happen.
I want to thank the school district too of Cotulla, for, being there for the kids, putting the meal for those parents that have kids. That means a lot of help. So, the school district did real good on that. And, those are things that will never be forgotten.
Excellent. Well, I just want to say to everyone, the citizens, city council, the school, the county, everybody is pulling together on this. Everybody's staying home. It's not very easy to stay home. Maybe the first 2 weeks it is, but after that, you're scratching windows and doors and trying to get out, especially if you have kids. So we're all in this together. We need to keep up the good work that we're doing. And I just wanted to say thank you for everyone. So on item number 17, no action is going to be needed. So it is now 8:23. Meeting is adjourned.